Heavy rain in Dalian, Liaoning province has been shocking. Parking lots have turned into seas, and streets have become rivers. There are flooded cars everywhere. Since June this year, the southern floods have already been raging, and now the northern regions are also being hit by heavy rain. Recently, there have been frequent rainfalls in Liaoning, and the average rainfall in Dalian has broken historical records for this time of year. From 5 p.m. on July 1st to 8 a.m. on July 4th, the southeastern region of Liaoning experienced continued heavy rainfall. Dalian and other areas had heavy rain, with some places even facing extreme downpours. In Dalian, the average rainfall reached 146.5 millimeters, breaking the historical record since 1951. This is 1.2 times the usual July rainfall. Some people have said it's like a whole month of rain in just 3 days. Dalian experienced heavy rain for 2 consecutive days. Early on July 4th, all the cars parked on the streets were affected. Some garage areas were flooded, leaving just a small gap. A blogger filmed the sky from the night of July 3rd to the early hours of July 4th, capturing lightning all night long. One person calculated that Dalian had 7,649 lightning strikes in one night, lasting 2 to 3 hours.
I'm not
trying to cause panic, but I've been in this coastal city, Dalian, for almost 6 months, and I've never seen anything like this. It's been thundering non-stop all night. Has anyone else in Dalian seen this? It's just non-stop. Yesterday there was thunder, but nothing this dramatic. Today it's been crazy, and look at the fog. The lightning is so intense, and you can't even see the sea across the street anymore. It's terrifying. There's been talk about a tsunami on July 5th in the Sea of Japan. Check it out online. Honestly, I'm a little scared. Should I drive inland? I'm really wondering about this. This is my first time experiencing such constant thunder in Dalian.
From midnight on July 3rd to 6 a.m. on July 4th, the average rainfall in Dalian was 110 millimeters, with the largest total in the Jingpu district reaching 262.9 millimeters. In some areas, such as Ganjingzi district, had rainfall of 67.1 millimeters per hour, causing flooding in low-lying areas and underground parking lots. A blogger mentioned that some car owners tried to move their cars in the middle of the night. Some underground garages turned into reservoirs, and low-lying areas like the West Station Plaza turned into rivers. Some residential buildings even had water in their elevators, and fish were found inside the lifts.
Oh my goodness, the rain in Dalian has brought fish into the elevator. Wow, this is an elevator, and there are fish inside.
Many cars were stuck on the road during the heavy rain.
My car is flooded, and now it's floating up. It's already half the height of me. I'm a little scared right now. What's going on here? After this guy finished his phone call, his little yellow car couldn't move. He must have given up. This is a big flood.
A driver was stuck on the road for 3 hours during the rain and called for help. Look at this. The development zone is getting hit with heavy rain, and people are stuck on the road after work. This is the development zone. How is it raining so hard? My shoes got washed away. Videos shared online show vehicles trapped in water, with people climbing onto the roofs of their cars. A blogger mentioned the strange weather in Dalian.
Have you noticed that the weather in Dalian this year is very strange? Just the thunderstorms alone have lasted the whole night. Look at the South China Square. Look at how deep the water is. I'm 1.8 meters tall, and when I walk through, the water reaches here, and the cars are all submerged and floating. According to the weather forecast, it'll rain until July 7th. But what's even worse than these thunderstorms? Especially for those of you coming to Dalian after July 7th, you won't be able to sleep well here. I'm in the tunnel, and you tell me, how much visibility do I have?
Due to the sudden downpour, all flights in Dalian were delayed for at least 4 hours. Passengers on planes felt like they were in a cloud inside the cabin. The Malan River embankment in Dalian collapsed, and a car was left hanging in midair. The floods also damaged the roads. A blogger mentioned that after a night of heavy rain, floodwater poured onto the asphalt roads, destroying the road base and surface and leaving a large pit. A family with a sick member couldn't get to the hospital by car.
Chang'an Village, Huahongguo, in Ganjingzi District, Dalian, suffered a once-in-50 years flood last night. The flood moved from the river to the asphalt road, completely destroying the road's base and surface. Now, only one person can barely pass through, and cars can't get through at all.
On July 5th, Shenyang Liaoning also experienced thunderstorms, strong winds, and hail. A user posted a video of the scene, where people were working in the water.
给大家看一下啊，沈阳中午
Let me show you, here in Shenyang, at 12 p.m., look at the sky. How dark it is. The sky has already turned dark, and the rain came suddenly.
This heavy rain, it's just too much. On July 5th, a blogger in Shenyang said the ongoing rain made people in northeast China experience what it's like to have humid, rainy weather.
沈阳的持续降雨让东北人也
Shenyang has been continuously raining, and it made us northerners feel what it's like to have humid weather. As a northern city, we're now getting rain like the southern monsoon. It's hot and humid, just like the south. Stepping outside, I'm all sticky. The elevator smells like a bathhouse, and in the garage, it smells like moldy burlap. It's just too damp. This weather is getting more and more ridiculous every year. Last year, the floods ruined the vegetables I'd planted in the yard, and now, with constant rain starting in early July, I'm worried it'll be like last year. My phone is full of videos on floods from the south. Heartbreaking to watch. Then the rescue efforts are touching. What's going on with the world? I just want to grow some vegetables peacefully, but it seems so difficult. On July 5th, the Heilongjiang Provincial Meteorological Observatory issued a red alert for heavy rain, as many areas in the province experienced short but intense downpours. After a heavy downpour that morning, the streets in Daqing, Heilongjiang were flooded.
这就是咱们的海绵城市。
This is our sponge city. This is the sponge city we built. Just look at these cars. Look at this.
A blogger criticized Daqing authorities for poor drainage infrastructure, pointing out that this is what their so-called sponge city looks like. A sponge city is a new urban model designed for flood and drought management, while also promoting environmental protection. The idea is to design cities like sponges, absorbing, storing, and filtering rainwater during rainfall, then utilizing the collected water during dry periods. Daqing is the only demonstration city in Heilongjiang province. In April of this year, local media claimed that Daqing was working hard to become a model sponge city for the country, with 88 major projects already completed. However, the Chinese government invested heavily in sponge cities, but the concept has already failed in many parts of China. For example, in Zhengzhou, Henan, a heavy rain disaster occurred in July 2021, causing significant casualties, even though Zhengzhou had spent over 50 billion yuan to build its so-called sponge city. Extreme weather events have been frequent this year, including strong winds, sandstorms, heavy snow, heavy rain, hail, and drought. Many people are commenting, dying from drought, drowning from floods, and high temperatures and typhoons. This year has been so tough. On July 4th, during a State Council press briefing, the Vice Minister of Water Resources, Chen Min, mentioned that by 8 a.m. on July 4th, 329 rivers in the country had exceeded their warning levels. The warning level indicates that the water level in rivers and lakes is rising, and that important levees may be at risk. China's major rivers and lakes set these warning levels based on hydrological stations, and reaching the warning level means a serious flood could happen at any moment, with its severity unpredictable. The authorities haven't specifically mentioned which 329 rivers have reached these warning levels, but previous official reports have listed several of the rivers. According to a report by the China Financial News on July 4th, from 8 a.m. on July 3rd to 8 a.m. on July 4th, 16 rivers exceeded their warning levels, including the Wanding River, a tributary of the Ruili River in Yunnan, the Mingjiang River and its tributaries in Sichuan, and the Shiqing River, a tributary of the Tuojiang River, and several others in Gansu, Shanxi, and Heilongjiang. On July 5th, CCTV reported that 10 rivers exceeded their warning levels, including the middle reaches of the Tuojiang River, the upper reaches of the Fuxi River, the Anxi and Longxi rivers, and others in Gansu, Jilin, Liaoning, and Yunnan. On June 22nd, official media reported that 27 rivers exceeded their warning levels, including the Liujiang River in Guangxi, the Yuanjiang River in Guizhou, and the Youjiang River in Yunnan. Among them, the Mentong River in Yunnan experienced the largest flood since 1979. According to AFP, the Chinese government once boasted that its vast system of dams could withstand annual floods, but recent heavy rainfall have still led to hundreds of deaths and tens of dozens of homes being destroyed. The reason why floods continue to cause devastation every year, despite the government's promises, is still being questioned. China's massive water management system is still insufficient to control all the floods, and there are doubts about what built decades ago can still withstand floods. Concerns about the structural integrity of the Three Gorges Dam, the world's largest hydropower project, often arise. The dam is located in the upper reaches of the Yangtze River, where many earthquake fault lines naturally occur. Water expert Wang Weiluo said that the increasing frequency of floods is related to the occupation of riverbeds by humans. He said, "The floods we see now are essentially a battle for space between humans and water. Excessive real estate development in China has taken up too much land, leaving little room for water. Rivers believe this is their territory, their rightful space, so every flood season they reclaim their land, trying to take back what originally belonged to them. The correct approach for humans is a retreat policy, where we say, 'This was yours and we'll give it back to you. We cannot take too much of your space or we will face the consequences.'" Wang Weiluo stated that the water management policy implemented by the Chinese government over the past 70 years has been focused on controlling water, making it follow orders, flowing east when told, flowing west when told. This is why the Three Gorges Dam and the south to north water diversion project were built. However, water is not so obedient. This has led to many floods in China, which Wang argues are man-made. Wang also pointed out that in ancient China, emperors had three main methods for dealing with natural disasters, one of which was issuing a self-blame edict. This meant the emperor would admit to having made mistakes and apologize to the heavens. There are about 200 such self-blame edicts found in historical records in the Forbidden City. Today, of course, the Chinese Communist Party does not issue self-blame edicts. Instead, they never make mistakes. It's worth noting that recent floods in China are often related not to heavy rainfall, but also to the government's controlled releases of water. During heavy rainfall in Rongjiang County, Guizhou, several upstream hydropower stations repeatedly released water, causing rapid rises in the water levels in the Pingyong River, Zhaihao River, and Duliu River. Similarly, in Huaihai City, Hunan, residents in Tuokou Town revealed that multiple upstream hydropower stations released water, with the Tuokou hydropower station opening 7 gates on June 23rd, causing the water level of the Yuanjiang River to rise rapidly. In recent years, continuous heavy rainfall and the ongoing release of water from major reservoirs have also led to public anger. While the Chinese government claims that the construction of reservoirs helps to regulate floods and droughts, in practice they have become a system of damming during the dry season and releasing water during the rainy season. The government's so-called orderly discharge is often found to be without warning. For instance, in late July and early August 2023, floods occurred in northern China. Residents in Baoting, Hebei, reported that the government did not issue any evacuation orders before releasing water from a Beijing reservoir, leaving millions of residents trapped by the floodwaters. Water expert Wang Weiluo mentioned that China's reservoirs have multiple purposes: flood control, power generation, navigation, water storage, supply, irrigation, and even fish farming. During dry periods, there's little water in the reservoirs. They cannot generate electricity or supply water, leading to economic losses. Therefore, the reservoirs need to store water to remain profitable, and releasing water is something they're reluctant to do. However, when heavy rain causes rapid rises in water levels, in order to protect the reservoir's safety and their own positions, officials must immediately release the water. This often happens unexpectedly, even in the middle of the night, and sometimes the public is not informed. The government does not report or underreports the number of deaths caused by such events. Other countries do occasionally release water, but they typically release it to sparsely populated areas. For example, in 2011, the United States opened the Morganza spillway in central Louisiana, with 125 large gates diverting floodwaters from the Mississippi River into the sparsely populated Atchafalaya Basin, preventing New Orleans from flooding. Wang Weiluo stated that in foreign countries, when water is released, compensation is given. If homes are flooded, insurance companies pay, and if there's no insurance, governments use funds to help people rebuild. In Germany, for instance, if a house is flooded and destroyed, the government compensates for a new house. But in China, there is no such system. In recent years, the United States has been dismantling many dams, but the Chinese government continues to spend large amounts of money every year to maintain aging and dangerous reservoirs. Wang Weiluo stated that China currently has nearly 100,000 reservoirs, and at least 3/4 of them are unsafe. Despite the rampant floods, no high-level officials in the Chinese Communist Party, at the vice-national level or above, have visited areas severely affected by the disaster, nor have there been any important instructions on flood control and disaster relief. Official reports show that Vice Premier Zhang Guoqing, who is responsible for flood control and disaster relief, has not inspected the disaster areas since June. On July 1st and 2nd, Zhang was in Hubei conducting research on the transformation, upgrading, and innovation of the manufacturing industry. Wu Guoguang, a scholar living in the United States, wrote in a media article that although natural disasters are common, the Chinese government's negligence has led to man-made disasters. He cited the authorities' attitude towards floods. At best, they ignore the situation. At worst, they disregard human life. Whether it's the highest authorities or party and government agencies, when floods occur, none of them show up. He pointed out, the source of all these man-made disasters is obvious. It lies in the fundamental nature of the communist regime, which is authoritarianism. Water expert Wang Weiluo told Radio Free Asia that China's current leaders, including General Secretary Xi Jinping and Premier Li Qiang, basically never go to disaster sites when floods occur. They just don't go. Xi Jinping typically waits until after the floods have passed before he goes. Political commentator Li Lingyi stated that since Xi Jinping came to power, he has abandoned the tradition of leaders like Hu Jintao and Wen Jiabao, who would personally visit disaster areas and even assist in relief efforts. She only often visits after the floodwaters have receded to make a show of concern. In May this year, when Xi visited Hunan during a severe drought, farmers had suffered tremendous losses, but he did not inspect or offer condolences. Now, with the deepening crisis within the CCP, the leadership is focused on internal power struggles, and senior officials have completely neglected even the most basic duties of their office.